I'm Bob Swindell, President and CEO of the Greater Fort Lauderdale Alliance. Today we look forward to an insight from a father and son team and a conversation about leadership. The growing national furniture company headquartered and built in Broward County. Andrew Koenig, President of City Furniture, is speaking with his father, Keith Koenig, CEO and one of the founders of City Furniture. Before we begin, I want to thank our series sponsors who are listed on the screen and the South Florida Business Journal, our media sponsor. Our supporting sponsors for today's event are Miller Construction and Regions Bank. And now on to our program. Today's moderator is President of City Furniture. Andrew Koenig graduated with degrees in finance and accounting from Elon University in 2005 and received his MBA in entrepreneurship from the NSU Heisinger School of Business and Entrepreneurship. Andrew has spent years learning lean thinking from Toyota experts and applying that training in his own business successfully at City Furniture, which is now referred to as CFOS, the City Furniture Operating System. Andrew is extremely lucky to have an amazing wife, Deanna, and three beautiful kids, Aaron, Daya, and Christian. Please help me welcome Andrew Koenig. Andrew?
Thanks, Bob. And let me introduce Keith as well. So Keith happens to be my father and CEO, owner of City Furniture, co-founded by his late brother, Kevin, my uncle, Kevin Koenig. City, if you didn't know, is a $500 million business down here in South Florida and Florida with over 19 City stores, 14 Ashley Home stores in South and Central Florida. Keith is a member of Board of Directors of the Miami branch of the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta and is chairman of Broward Workshop. He is board member of Holy Cross Hospital and serves on the Orange Bowl Committee in the Florida Council of 100. And trust me, he does about another 100 other things. He's got a BS degree in 1973 and an MBA degree in 1975 from his favorite place on earth, which is the University of Florida. He received the 2001 Furniture Retail of the Year Award, Ernst & Young Entrepreneur Award, and about 1 million other awards. So welcome, Keith, from Hawaii, everybody. So he's actually on Hawaii. That's why it's a really dark background there. It's only about, 5-6 hours difference?
Yeah, 6.
How you doing, bud? 6?
Great. Great.
So about 3 a.m. So thanks for making it with us. We should have planned a better Friday.
We planned the event, this Alliance event. You can hear me okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, we planned the Alliance event before we planned to come to Hawaii. So but it's okay. 6-hour difference.
You follow your commitments. That's why I'm proud of you. All right, so I'm going to moderate, sir, and also maybe jump in on some of these questions with you, so the folks out there can learn a little bit about us. But so I'm going to open it up with talking about how you got started in business. So City Furniture was born Waterbed City. It's an absolute fascinating story, everybody. But Keith, tell us a little bit about City's history, if you can.
So you can't make this stuff up. This was we've got a good story, and I'll be brief because probably other more important stuff. But in the good old USA, there's no limit to what any of us can accomplish. And so my late brother Kevin started a little waterbed store he named Waterbed City with a few $1,000s. He saved up while he was going to college and worked as a bellman in a hotel that's been torn out. It was Sea Ranch Lakes Hotel in Lauderdale by the Sea. Saved up a few $1,000s while he was getting his MBA at Florida Atlantic University. So starting a business with a few $1,000s, of course, he didn't have much of a chance, but Kevin was a hardworking guy, and he taught me a lot. It was about thrift. It was about hard work, about saving and putting every penny back into the business, and that's what we've done for 50 years.
Awesome, man. So in those early days, did you guys ever have any conversations of long-term success or what it could become?
Yeah, we had a very clear vision to create a furniture company 50 years later. No, not a chance. No chance. Here was the long-term vision in 1972 when I started working with him. We figured the summer of 72, if I could do $1,200 a week running the store, we could afford to pay him and pay me and cover our bills. $1,200 a week. I like to say to our company now, our associates, now we do $1,200 a minute in or every 10 seconds, a lot of times in our busier days. So no long-term vision. Long-term vision was, we hope we can make it to next week or the week after.
Cool, cool. And could you share maybe a few key breaks that kind of lifted Waterbed City back in those days?
Well, I think we're blessed by the good Lord in so many ways, being in the best country in the world and the best state in the best country in the world. And we happen to be in the best part of the best state and the best country in the world in South Florida. And I really do believe that. So when my mom and dad moved from New Jersey to South Florida, that was a real break. Because if they would have decided to move to Macon, Georgia, or Timbuktu, who knows what would have happened. But in South Florida, there was an opportunity because there's growth and there's an exciting business environment. And Bob and Maggie and Ron and Gail and everybody at the Alliance, thanks for perpetuating that good business alliance, that business environment that we have in South Florida, because it provides the opportunity for many organizations to be able to grow. But I can't really say that there was any one, wow, this made us or something. What made us was hard work, thrift. I tell a lot of people, I said, when they want to hear our stories, I say, hey, you eat enough peanut butter. If you forego consumption today and reinvest in your business, however little you're making or whatever it is, and you have your eye on the prize of building a better business over the long run. If you have an opportunity, and we had an opportunity, we happen to have a fertile field to grow in. If you have that discipline of thrift and hard work and building a great team of great people and taking care of your customer, I don't care what business you're in, furniture or auto parts or legal services or real estate. I don't care what it is. I think you can make a success of a business if you're that dedicated. So I don't really look back and say, wow, this happened and that we were really lucky. I think we were blessed, but I think it was hard work.
Nice, very cool. Now talk a little bit about that transition from Waterbed City to City Furniture, and what's the story there? Share that. I know it well, but share it with everybody.
Yeah. All right. So in the 70s, our little waterbed store business grew from 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 stores to 5 and 6 and up to about 14. But in the late 80s, the waterbed business took a turn. And I think the message that I would share for everybody is that every business, I don't care what business you're in, is going to change. Change is a part of life. The one thing that is constant is change. And so whether we liked it or not, this waterbed business that was good for the 70s and 80s, not like an overnight thing, for 17, 18 years, started taking nosedive. People were coming into our showrooms that had bought waterbeds in the past saying, I think I'm going to get a regular mattress now. And why? I don't know. I still sleep on a waterbed. I love it. But the reality is every business has to face change. And so we had to reinvent our business. And so in the early 90s, we did. Now, Hurricane Andrew came along and really gave our business a little bit of a boost. It was a good thing in the sense that there was a lot of demand, and there was a bad thing because it was really disruptive for our business. But long story short, we reinvented our business to City Furniture. And I'll tell an interesting story. In 1993, before we started City Furniture, while we're still Waterbed City, we had always had our audit done by Deloitte Touche. Deloitte Touche back then, it's now just Deloitte. It might have been Deloitte Haskett Sells. For whatever it was, they were Deloitte. We've known that since in the 80s. And I sat across the table from the retail partner from Deloitte in the whole world, global retail partner. I said, hey, we got to change our name. We got to change our product line, markup strategy. We have to change our marketing, change distribution. We have to buy a whole new warehouse, whole new product line. We had to reinvent, train everybody on new products that people didn't understand. have you ever can you tell me another business that's gone through this and that came out the other side that I can learn from? And I'm sitting with my brother, Kevin, and I forget the partner's name. And he looked at me and he goes, no. And I looked at Kevin. I said, I didn't think so, because I've looked at all kinds of businesses. Well, we did that. We changed everything. And it wasn't easy. It was really the most tumultuous time that we've ever had as a business. There's been other tumultuous times, but reinventing the whole business and throwing away, we had to burn the bridges on Waterbed City and reinvent to City Furniture. We had a ragtag group of furniture stores. So for the last 25 years, we've reinvested and moved our stores into the right place and continue to evolve. And I think that's a real blessing for us. The fact that we've got change built into our DNA and that we're nimble enough to be able to recognize, hey, what worked in the past is not going to work now, is a blessing.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, now next question. Curious, any early mentors to you that you really admired and helped you along the way? And then I'll share a couple of mine. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, Kevin was, he was a little over 4 years older than me, so he had some more experience than I did. I think we learned from each other, but in most ways, I would have to say Kevin was very influential. He was influential on a place that most people would think of, philanthropy. We weren't, we didn't have any money to give away, so we didn't consider ourselves charitable at all because we didn't have any resources. But as we grew and business got better, he taught me a lot about that. And I think the best lesson he shared with me was his method of capitalism. He was a capitalist. He understood investing in the business to grow it in the future, and not spending money on his personal wants and needs, thrift. So those things he was a great mentor. Later in life, I got to be good friends with Wayne Heising, and certainly I learned a lot from him. My best friend is Steve Helmos, and there's so many dinners with him. We traded ideas, and he's been a mentor in a lot of ways.
Yeah, that's an awesome list. For me, I would say obviously you're my number one. I'm not going to blow any more smoke up, you know what. So you know how the world I think, but I think not everybody knows about you though, which I think would be kind of cool to share, is you're amazing at product. And I don't know if all your community buddies and friends and partners really know how good you are at product. So for all those listening, Keith is probably the furniture industry's number one, merchant. And we've been traveling the world, Asia, furniture markets all across the US, the world. And it's absolutely phenomenal how good he is at understanding construction styles, trends, even though he rocks suits from 1994 sometimes. And, he needs to upgrade his wardrobe.
Old style jean, right?
Yeah, you missed it, but somehow you have a phenomenal eye for product, and he's really helped our product lineup be not only fashion forward but quality, style, and passing that on to the next generation in the business. And our head of merchandising right now is really becoming very, very good. So
he'll be way better. James will be way better. James and Chris will be way better.
Yeah, no doubt. And the other one, I don't know how much too many people out there, but I think you did an amazing job picking your CFO with Steve Wilder. It's like a second father to me. This guy, Steve Wilder, if you don't know him out there, he should be he could have been a top Fortune 100 CFO. And you really picked the greatest CFO to go through the transition to City Furniture, the Great Recession. I mean, this guy's been a master genius. So for me personally, growing up, learning from him, he's just been unbelievable. And I hope everybody in their companies and organizations out there have a Steve Wilder. They really need one. And then, I think, Bob alluded it in my bio, but I'm a huge, Toyota groupie, and I really admire all the expert leaders that I've been able to learn from at Toyota and the culture that they've created in their, $400 billion organization in the most competitive industry, I think, in the world, which is automobiles. But anyways, that's been huge on my growth. So personally, all right. So Keith, moving on.
I'll amplify that one more time, Andrew. And I'll say, in terms of learning and mentorship, you have taken that lead in terms of understanding Toyota. When you first brought to me and said, Dad, we got to go study Toyota. We got to do this. Here, read this book. And I started reading the book. And it was in the middle of a recession, the Great Recession, 2005, 2007, I think it was. And I went, son, we're in the middle of a recession. Leave me alone. I'm dealing with this. But I started reading the books and I said, oh my God, I've been looking for this my whole life, this management system. And so you're right. Toyota is a great mentorship, but I'm grateful for you to be able to say, hey, learn this stuff. And you've become expert at it. And that's why, I can feel very confident about our business for the next number of years. So my message to everybody out there, pick up a book on lean. It's called Toyota Way, or any of those books that Andrew can refer you to. He's happy to take anybody's email. But there's a better management system out there, and it's called lean management, and the Toyota production system is the way to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm also available for tours if you ever want to come visit City and see how we're applying it. All right, so let's move on. Yeah, let's move on here. So next kind of group of questions is about day-to-day operations for both you and I. So when we meet as an executive team, what do you think are the advantages of being family, and what are some of the challenges of being family between us? You go first, then I'll go second.
Well, I think, every entrepreneur, father, dream is to be able to work with his or her children if they share a passion for the business. Because I wouldn't know what I'd be doing otherwise if you and Ryan and the family weren't so interested in the business. Thank God Ryan is, and thank God you are. So the strength is that I know no matter what, I've got family to count on and bounce ideas off of. And the fact is that you're both very, very, very smart, and you're very, very, very passionate about and driven about the business. And we share the same viewpoint of the opportunities that we have. So that's at the core of the strength. And I consider the rest of the senior management team at City Furniture really family, almost the same way, in a very, very tight way. I guess the challenge is you're never off. It's really hard to turn, you can never turn off the business, because even when we're together and having family time, at the end of the day, some conversations go that way. And so there's that challenge. I don't have a problem with that. My wife, Kelly, says, you work every day. I mean, because I'll get up in the morning and I'll in Hawaii, and I'll spend 2 or 3 hours doing stuff that I got to do, or otherwise, things don't get done. So those are the challenges for me. The strength is way more important than the weaknesses of never being off. I don't have a problem with that a bit. You go now.
Yeah. So for me, the strengths are, trying to run a business with 3,000 people. I think, everybody wants to work for a good company that takes good care of them, or a good organization. And the fact that we're family, they see the family, and we I think do a great job of integrating our family in a lot of our business, really kind of makes people feel comfortable that this is a really good place to work. And we're just, normal people like everybody else, just trying to create a great organization for them and to pass on to the next generations. And I think everybody, when we do our associate satisfaction surveys, you constantly hear the 2 words family spirit a lot. And why do you like working here? Oh, it's a good family. I respect Keith, Andrew, and the family. So I think the strengths are just helping the organization just be a really good-hearted organization. So I guess for me personally, maybe a little personal one, the challenge obviously coming out of college and working for you, and how do I make sure that everybody knows that I get I earned whatever I would get. And I think I think I'm on year 17 now, but we've been having business conversations since, I don't know, high school, so feels a lot longer than that. But I think it was tough, trying to make sure everybody in the organization, because I felt like a really strong I really wanted everybody to know that, you know, I didn't want to get anything for free. You know, I wanted to work for it and get it. And, you know, I think I did that, but you would know better. All right. So do we ever have?
I'll tell you,
Go ahead.
I'll brag you for a half a second as a family member. So he gets out of college, and Andrew had a real interest in operations for us. That's warehousing and service, which you might think is not the most attractive part of the business. He wanted to get that part of the business is under his belt, working as well as I could. And I said, you know, wherever you start, you got to start at the bottom. If you want to start in operations, you got to start unloading trucks, working in the warehouse.
Just so you know, that was my plan too, sir. You know,
it was your plan. I was going to get there.
All right.
I didn't say you had to do it. He didn't want to do it. To his credit, he wanted to do it. And I said, I think you got to spend 2 or 3 weeks there. You get to do that. Everybody, you get to know everybody. You get to know the processes. He ended up spending 12 weeks unloading trucks. Now, he didn't have to do that, but he knew the only way to build relationships and build trust was by mastering and the relationship, mastering the processes, understanding it thoroughly. And he spent years in the warehouse doing all, you know, the basic tasks. And that was not because he had to. It wasn't a button he was pushing. It was intrinsically, he knew the right way to build relationships. So I give you a lot of credit for that. And then you took on more responsibility as a supervisor and then a manager and then running the whole operations and now running the whole business so that I could have fun in Hawaii. And
yeah. How long are you out there, by the way? What is just because you're turning 70, bud? You know, this is
6 nights. Yeah. I'm turning 70, 7 days from now.
Yeah, big party. All right. So
7. How does that happen? It's crazy.
So next question here is about how do we kind of, share responsibilities in the business and how do we leverage each other's strengths, weaknesses, and, kind of maximize. So I think Keith and I do a really good job of, wherever there's problems in the business, because there's always problems, there's always opportunities to get better and improvement and strategy, you name it. So, he, like I said, he's got super strong strengths in merchandising and, real estate, marketing, you name it. And I got a lot of skill sets in operations and several other areas. So I think what we do a really good job. I really have always thought we were a good team because like we'll share responsibilities. If we're both in the same meeting at the same time, there's so much work to be done. I think we do a really good job of kind of leveraging each other's times and our skills so we can get, we really can push the organization and get things done faster, quicker. And I don't know if you feel the same way, but I think that's like been very helpful for, when there's a problem in the business, okay, I'll go knock out that, you got that over there. And, we're moving this thing forward faster, quicker. And, I think we got a good little partnership there. I don't know if you would agree.
Yeah. I think I think we've been able to cover all the bases. You're no question about it. Andrew's running the business now, and that allows me to be able to do the stuff that, excuse me, where I can add value the most, where I don't step on his toes. I think one of the messages for any family business, the older guy has got to learn how to step back and let the younger guy or gal take on the responsibility and let everybody see that person is running, in this case, that Andrew is running the business, and they have to report to him, not me. He reports to me, but that relationship is very. My role for him is just supportive and make sure that we're aligned on the big strategies, which we are. But he's running the business, and I can add some value, gray hair, wisdom. And I love the real estate part of the business. We've got more real estate projects going on than ever. And I love merchandising. I love to make sure that the product line is good and a few other things, but Andrew's got the rest.
Yeah, no, you've been absolutely unbelievable. I do agree. For a lot of family businesses out there, we're having a very smooth transition, and And I give you full credit for that because you're just a super humble and no ego guy. And it's, and everybody knows, like for anybody listening, Keith's still the man. He's running this business for 50 years. And, I do think, and I'm praying one day that I have what you have, which would be freaking awesome. I can't wait for whoever in the family will step up. All righty. Moving on. So wanted to talk about lean practices and what we do a little bit specifically. So the story, everybody, there is prior to graduating college, I was really interested in learning about different religions, got into Buddhism. And, I was like, oh, that's interesting. I liked a lot of the things I learned in that culture about collectivism and, it's all about the whole versus the individual. I thought American style management was too, individualistic and too, kill or be killed. And I just felt like there was a lot of management philosophies in Japan and in this, other side of the world that really was interesting to me and kind of spoke to me a little bit. Long story short, read a book on Toyota, found out that they were, if you read about Toyota, extremely profitable, unbelievable growth, a little small country, island, I think smaller than the size of California that, has been absolutely decimated out of World War II, but out of the next 30, 40 years becomes the world's number one automobile manufacturer. No associates leave the business. It's got one of the lowest turnover rates in the world for such a huge conglomerate, and just also part family business. So anyways, as I kept learning more and more about Toyota, I told Keith, I need to go to Japan and I need to spend some time over there. You hooked me up with Jim Moran, JM Lexus, everybody. Got me an amazing 2-day tour at some of the core factories over there. And I just came back when I was there, I was completely in awe on how they treated each other, respect, how so much autonomy was given to associates and people were able to give ideas and a lot of these philosophies that you learn about lean that, I really spoke to me and felt very confident that we needed to apply a lot of these common sense philosophies at Citi. So again, I'll say one more time. Yeah, I agree with Keith. If nobody's aware of what lean is and the Toyota production system, please pick up a book on Toyota Way, Toyota Culture, The Machine That Changed the World. These are books, or you could just email me and I'll help you out. But a lot of these philosophies, and no disrespect, I don't think a lot of businesses didn't have them in America early 2000s. Luckily, and the real story is about, I tried getting you to think about this in 2004, 2005, 2006. And I remember you being like, what are you talking about, kid? We're growing at 800% the last 12 years. Like, get out of here. And maybe not like that, but it was hard. But when the recession started to happen, we called the author of the Toyota Way. They sent us down a consultant, and that consultant touring us around. I don't know if you remember that, but I
do.
The book, we had someone to point out what we read in the book and say, see that problem over there? That's what this is. See that problem over there? That's what this will solve. And anyways, it opened up our eyes, and we've been on a lean journey for the last 14 years. We now call it our Citi Furniture operating system. We kind of moved the word away, lean. And we are at this point right now, everybody, training all of our leaders from the very top to the C-suite, all the way down to frontline leaders on what we call CFOS. It's an 80-hour leadership training program. It absolutely is a game changer for our leaders. And I have leaders telling me, please get my new associate in it. Please get my new leader in it. Oh, we just hired a new manager in HR or a new marketing leader. And it really is this phenomenal way of being a great leader. And we at Citi, it's been huge for us, and a pretty game changer of what keeps our business continuously improving. So in short, it might sound simple, but lean is all about continuous improvement, trying to constantly get better every single day, and highly recommend it. And it's been very successful. So I would say, when we started, to where we are now. I remember our workers' comp, we dropped it enormously. Our head count in operations, we dropped it enormously. We were overweight, in costs. And I remember our quality, our damages, our returns were twice as high. So, and it's a really phenomenal philosophy that helps you see better, see the waste, and gives you methodologies on how to eliminate those wastes and get a little bit better. So anyways, there's my lean plug. All right, let's move into.
Let me amplify a couple of things there.
Oh.
So for somebody who didn't have that point of view, if you do pick up some of the books on lean, Toyota Way is the first one that I read, and I think it's a good entry point into it. It starts to put the ideas, the management system, into some level of perspective. And all I can say is every business has problems, every business. And the American way historically has been, not us, not my area of the business. Actually, mine is doing really well. We don't really have any big problems in our area. And so it gets shuffled under the rug. Well, every business has problems, and lean celebrates the problems. And then it forces you to identify what are the biggest ones. Well, let's try to work on that one first. And let's try to fix it, not with a little Band-Aid, but let's understand the root cause. And then lean has methods to be able to go through and fix them. And I can tell you from countless parts of our business, and you can say, well, maybe it works in furniture. It doesn't work in an insurance brokerage, or it's working in everything. Hospitals, every business under the sun that has adopted lean management, which we have branded the City Furniture, Andrew has branded the City Furniture Operating System, and everybody really gets that, is a way to be able to solve problems in businesses in meaningful ways that are respectful for the people. The reason that turnover is less is you have more respect for the people, because the people that are doing the work in whatever area in the business that where you want to focus on a problem, they fix it, but they do it with lean thinking, which is a little bit counterintuitive than I'm the smart guy. I come up with all the good ideas. You guys all implement them. That doesn't work. In 2021, you got to get everybody involved. And that's what lean does. And it's really very powerful. So it's not some amorphous big concept. You can start with little itty bitty problem solving and you can make amazing changes in the business. I remember doing one Kaizen. We did one Kaizen in one part of our business, and it was probably in the second year. So probably 2008, 2009 in our repair shop. And I talk about it to this day. I say, oh my God, they did a 5-day Kaizen. And within 2 weeks, we were saving essentially 50 grand a month, actually more than $50,000 a month. Amazing.
Yeah. And for all you out there that have millennials on your team, they want to be a part of continuous improvement, and they want to be a part of ideas and giving ideas. So it really helps our new generation of young talent really love the business. Hard for them to leave when you really create a culture of continuous improvement. All right, let's shift gears. Let's talk about hiring and the difficulty with hiring right now. So I'll start and you chime in here. So when it comes to hiring right now, everybody knows it's a war for talent. And I think we have about 500 recs open. I don't even know if you know that. We have about 500 open recs right now. Yeah, it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts in all fields, like, technology, HR, warehouse, delivery, customer care, you name it. Sales. Yeah. I think what I would say to everybody, the fact that we have a good family-oriented culture, we're transparent, we've got a good management system, we've got a good operating system, and we're very vocal in the community, and they see you out there doing Broward Rock Shop, or me doing American Heart Association or whatever, and giving back to the community, celebrating our green efforts. By the way, shameless plug, our fleet team just won the greenest fleet in the entire country. I can't believe it. I'm so excited. So our fleet team, #1 green fleet in the country. I'm telling everybody, we beat everybody in all industries. So I'm just like blown away. Anyways, so when it comes to hiring, this is where I'm going with this, is like, if you want to hire talent, if you want to keep talent, If you want to attract talent, I've had some, we've been able to hire some amazing people from some amazing businesses have actually sought us. Be a really good business, be a really good organization, do stuff in the community, give back, be green, be vocal, be transparent, and it'll be easier. Okay. So we have 500 recs. Okay. So we have not solved this problem. But I promise you, our operating system, our management systems, and all the cultural stuff that we do helps us close the gap, and much better than I think when we compare ourselves to other folks in our industry and stuff like that. So what would you like to add in regarding the huge challenge of hiring right now?
It's a challenge for every business, and I have not run across any business CEO leader that has not said, yeah, no, we could be doing way better if we had enough people. So, but that's a good thing in a lot of ways. Now, the pandemic, we have fewer people working, 5.7 million last I checked, than we did in 2019 prior to COVID. So for some reason, a lot of people have decided not to work or go back into the workforce yet. I believe the end of government support will force people to say, hey, I gotta go work, which is good and bad. I mean, if you got young kids and they're staying home, I get not working. I think most of us would like to see everybody back to work, and I think that'll heal itself. But you know what's happened? If you remember, a year and a half ago, there was a lot of conversation about we need to put in a national wage, minimum wage of $15. And we need to mandate this. And there was people saying, no, you don't mandate that kind of thing. You let the marketplace do it. Well, what's happened? Yeah, we can't hire people for $15. We have to pay more. And so the folks who have been on the lower side of the income range during this period have benefited proportionately in a better way than probably, say, middle management or others. There's a fight for talent across everything, but it's actually letting the marketplace work its magic. And you're going to see people get back to work, and you're going to see automation and technology figuring out how to do more business with less people. So it's a disequilibrium right now, but it's not one that I think will continue for long because the marketplace is smart and it balances things out. So I think it's actually good in a lot of ways.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to, Bob, your question here regarding, our KPIs and how we measure things like teamwork and our strategic planning process. So yeah, part of our CFOS, part of our management system is to have a really robust strategic planning process. And we actually just finished our second part of our strategic planning process about 2 weeks ago. But I'll try to give you a quick high level overview, everybody. So in July, we communicate to everyone in the organization that we're going to begin our strategic planning process. We ask all of our departments, sales, ops, marketing, merchandising, and the sub departments of these large departments to help build their SWOT statements for their departments. So what are your strengths? What are your what are your strengths? Internal. What are your weaknesses? Internal. What are your opportunities and threats that are external? And really help bring these statements to the senior team. And that we're going to go off site and really reflect on the external environment and the internal environment of our business, and really grasp the current state so that we can set our multi-year vision statements and vision goals, and then turn that into a strategic plan with real annual goals and real strategies to achieve those goals. So that's, it starts with going to our associates and then asking them to pull those ideas, pull all the thoughts and thinking of our organization to advise the senior team. So something I think we do a really good job as a senior team. We don't think we know everything, which is, I think, the smartest thing we can do is listen to everybody's perspective. And the organization does an amazing job of really providing a lot of really important statements to us so that we can really make sure we're setting the right vision, we're setting the right goals, and we're identifying the right strategies to achieve those goals and achieve that vision. And then through that, we build teams to actually, cross-functional teams to help achieve those goals. We cascade these goals down throughout the organization. One of them, to your point there, Bob, is teamwork, which we measure that in words like retention, turnover, associate satisfaction, engagement. And, behind me to the, right over here to my right is a huge list of KPIs that we monitor to measure our performance when it comes to teamwork. Hard to explain over the phone. Maybe you come visit me and I show you, but it's very critical that we're measuring our 5 categories of goals, which is safety, quality, customer, performance, which would be like financial metrics, and teamwork, which would be like the people related metrics that are so important in this day and age, in this challenging people environment. So our strategic planning process, for me, Keith, the senior team, is probably the most important thing we need to do right, and really make sure we're identifying the right goals, right strategies, and then getting these teams together to go crush it. And, Keith and I, maybe 20 years ago, Keith, it was very, ivory tower, here's what you're going to do. I think now we're more about setting the goals, organizing the team, and then trusting that they're going to go accomplish it. Don't you worry, we're going to be a part of it. We're going to be part of that team. We're going to make sure they're going down the right path. If we need to guide them, we will, but we're not going to, steamroll them. And together, we're more right than wrong. And I think that's why our business has been growing so successfully over the last few years, because of our strategic planning process. So I hope that kind of explains a little bit about what you do there. And Tracy, I see your question here. Do you survey your team members or ask open-ended questions before a strategic planning process? Yeah. When it comes to building these SWOT statements, we're really trying to get our team members to share anything they want. And yeah, there's a lot of good questions, open-ended questions, to help get their minds thinking, and that feedback up the loop. So we're really not trying to tell them what to say. We're really asking them, what do you think we need to know, and through those open-ended questions. So strategic planning processes, got to do it, and you'll learn a lot about that if you do read those books, Toyota Way.
Let me translate that into a unique or into a benefit that has been we've enjoyed. So several years ago, we'll probably get into technology and how all businesses need to become technology companies. But in this process, several years ago, the idea of cybersecurity, if you remember a few years ago, it was not as front and center as it is today. But it was then that the team rose the idea that cybersecurity was something we really needed to pay a lot of attention to. So we went and listened and went on that path and invested in building that part of our team. Now that's a real expense without a benefit. You just are kind of, it's almost like insurance, and you're not even insured in the sense that you guarantee that it doesn't happen to you. But we built a team to be able to deal with that. Well, here it is a few years later, and we've spent a lot of money in building the cybersecurity team. And I saw this yesterday. We had a really heavy, we tried to get hacked. Every one of our companies all try to get hacked or are getting hacked. Attempts to hack us every day in the thousands. But this one bad guy built a copy of our website and a really elaborate effort to get into our business by asking our associates with what looked like really authentic city furniture communications to log in and share their password. And it looks like our cybersecurity team has avoided that threat. Now that could have cost us millions. It might happen. Who knows what's going to happen? But that's an example of how I wouldn't have come up with that, but the team does.
Yeah, good point. All right, shifting gears, and I'm going to speed it up here because I know I got to pass it back to Bob in a little bit. When it comes to COVID, so first off, I would just share, and I know we're probably all exhausted about talking about how the pandemic that we're, battling as all organizations, companies. One of the things I thought we did a really good job is we started, early or late March of last year, is just as a leadership team, we said, we're going to get through this and we're going to protect our brand and we're going to protect our associates, put safety first. And that really guided a lot of our decision making. And it was really cool to see over the last 18 months that I think the leadership decisions that we made were almost earlier sometimes than the CDC and local government, and we were right, I would say almost all the time. You can't be perfect throughout this organization and everybody's going to have their own opinions, but I was really proud to kind of, lead with your values throughout the pandemic. And that really helped us get out of this situation and build, a lot of trust with our associates, and a huge deal. And I'm just so proud. And then, the post-pandemic wise ideas that have changed our business. So we're investing more in technology. I think we're beefing up our safety leadership and our culture stronger than ever. We're thinking of a lot of creative ways to interact with customers that, if they want to do touchless payments in our stores, or, safe deliveries, you name it, or, you want to interact with us virtually on free design over the phone, we can do it. So I think COVID has really been obviously horrific for, the world, and for many of our associates and, community folks, but, it has made us better as a company when it comes to, being a better organization for our associates, for our customers, and for the community. When it comes to the community involvement, and Keith, you can chime in here for sure, is, Keith is nobody, there's a lot of fantastic leaders in the community that do give so much back, but I've watched this guy do so much and give so much of his personal time, so much money away. And it's been awesome to watch just how, humble you've been, and how well you've really, cared for the local community in many different ways. So you're absolutely amazing. But I think the one thing to add that, I hope everybody out there is, that's involved, is it comes back to you in more positive ways, so you meet more interesting people. I have associates that saying, hey, I want to work for you just because I know you're trying to raise $500,000 for breast cancer and my mom passed away, or people want to work for us because they find out we're a green organization, or, it's just, the more you give, the more you get. I can't explain it. I don't have any mathematical ROI, but I can promise you, not only does it fulfill your heart, help out others, but it comes back to you in a bajillion different positive ways. So anything you want to add there, bud?
It's in the Bible. From whom much is given, much will be expected. But it's not, community support is best. God loves a generous giver. So I think you're right. It's don't be supportive for the benefits, but do it for the right reasons. But the truth is I think we all get rewarded for the good deeds that we do sooner or later. And I've just found I've met so many great friends by being involved and getting involved and being willing to support different things in the community. And so I consider it a responsibility, but also a blessing.
Yeah, absolutely. And, to kind of, add something that I thought, you obviously are pushing us down this path way back when, but I would share for everybody out there. I think you do need to operationalize, and you do need to brand, and you do need to market what you do, because I think you and Uncle Kevin did a lot of amazing stuff, but sometimes not letting everybody know. I think people knew in the community, folks like Bob and you name it, but I think the last 3, 4, 5 years, we're starting to actually put marketing awareness around this. And it's not to toot our own horn, everybody. It's really just to make sure our associates know that they're working for a good company. Our customers know, because they're choosing to buy from only good companies. That trend is happening daily. And if you're not an organization that is doing good in the community, you will be left behind one day, because this will be right. We're seeing in our brand surveys that this is becoming a top reason to buy at Citi. I'm buying from you because I know you give back, which is absolutely fantastic, because hey, that, consumers are being smart of where they're spending their money and who's doing good in the world. And obviously, establishing fantastic community partnerships, like we had, that you've had over all these years, I think come back in a million different ways. So I guess, don't do it in private. You got to figure out how to operationalize, market, and brand your giving strategies, whatever they may be, and whatever is important to your heart. But I can promise you, it's really benefited Citi and where we are today.
The age-old approach is don't let your left hand know what the right hand is doing. In other words, don't do good deeds of good work for the purpose of getting recognized. And the Bible says he's already been repaid. The reality is that, but by showing leadership of being able to say, hey, we're making a 5% giving pledge, which Andrew did, of our profitability, I think it sends a message to, as he said, everybody in the organization and everybody in the community that we're trying to be leaders by example of that, and that we can all make our communities better if we recognize the responsibility and the opportunity to take some of what we have been blessed with and share it with others in smart, strategic ways. If you wave your own flag about it from a standpoint of say, look at me, we're such good people, that's not the right way to do it. But I think visibility is important because leaders learn from other leaders. I learned from people running bigger businesses than ours along the way. And now we have more resources. I think there's a responsibility to show that visible leadership. And in philanthropy, it's as much as anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I think, Bob, you have come back on. I see you there, sir. Maybe I pass it back to you, sir. And hopefully we've had a good discussion and folks out there got to learn a little bit about our story.
Andrew, Keith, thank you so much. Yes, I think everyone got a better feel for, one of the best known success stories in Broward County. Keith, I think you and Kevin in the early days, making a part of the foundational values of Citi, of Waterbed City and then Citi Furniture, giving back to the community. As you said, Keith, even when there wasn't a lot to give back, that was still an aspiration and a core value.
Thanks.
I want to thank our sponsors again, shown on the screen, and especially for today's event, Miller Construction and Regions Bank, and our media sponsor that has really helped us get the word out and publicize this brand new leadership speaker series of the South Florida Business Journal. Please check out today's issue. As you know, you get your South Florida Business Journal every Friday. Today's issue includes an in-depth look at the resurgence of condominium development in South Florida and how the condominium boom differs from past iterations and what that means for the overall state of the region's robust retail sector. Also, make sure the September 17th issue of the South Florida Business Journal will have a story on the highlights of today's leadership speaker session. Today's session will be posted online next week, along with each of the other speaker series events at gflalliance.org/speaker series. We're very proud of the fact George Hambury has told me on more than one occasion that every MBA student at Nova Southeastern, it should be required viewing to watch these podcasts from local Broward business leaders. They are all unique and special in their way and what they communicate, and it gives you a great flavor of who we are as a community. Please be sure to join us for the next Leadership Speakers event on October 1st, which will be a conversation on leadership featuring a dynamic local education leader, President Gregory Hale of Broward College, and moderated by Colin Brown, Chairman of JM Family Enterprises. As an organization, we're very fortunate to have both Greg and Colin actively involved in Alliance leadership. They are two additional examples that I think Andrew and Keith really highlighted today about our corporate fabric and what makes Broward special.